Farah Nasser.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. While teachers shuffle around desks, rework timetables, and stock up on masks ahead of September, there is one big part of the back-to-school conversation which educators are worried about: ventilation. In Toronto, a mock setup showing what 35 kids in a class would look like. Difficulty distancing is one thing, but air circulation is another, especially inside and especially in older schools that lack proper ventilation systems. Right now, windows and doors can be kept open, but teachers worry about what happens in the winter. Heather Yourex-West reports on the issue causing concern from coast to coast to coast.
With just weeks to go until his kids head to class, David Stalker is worried.
As a parent, you have all the same concerns. How do you keep the kids separate enough that they don't get sick themselves, but also bring sickness back into families?
He worries his children and students won't be able to physically distance in crowded classrooms. But depending on the age of the school, there could be additional risks.
That would be the one concern, is that older buildings might have been designed to a different standard. But also, if they're not maintained all that well, the HVAC, or the heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems might not be up to par.
The virus is spread by droplets that can linger in the room if air is not properly circulated. It's why health officials have recommended we spend time with others outside when possible. Opening doors and windows can help get air moving, but in many Canadian classrooms, that's just not possible.
We know that that's the case in many, many schools. In some cases, windows are literally painted shut and cannot be opened.
My drama room, for instance, in my classroom at my school, has no windows in it because it is, in fact, it's a drama space, right? And so that would be a concern if I had students in there.
It's why advocates are calling on school districts to make sure their facilities are ready.
The funding given to maintain systems in schools is very low, so the work probably hasn't been done as well as it could be. So I'd be very concerned as the weather gets cooler and people move indoors.
Calgary's Board of Education says it's currently reviewing the ventilation systems at its facilities across the city. One more item on a long list of things to do to prepare for classes amid COVID-19. Heather Yourex-West, Global News, Calgary.
So you can understand why parents are agonizing over whether or not to send their children back to class. A top child psychiatrist at BC Children's Hospital says when safety is on the line, school is less important. It's a perspective that runs contrary to official public health guidelines in that province. Today, officials there revealed students will be returning to classrooms 2 days later than originally planned. Catherine Urquhart is following the developments for us. Catherine, tell us about the gradual restart to schooling there.
That's right. Well, after weeks of pressure from the opposition, from teachers and from parents, we're finally learning when kids in BC will be returning to the classroom. BC's Education Minister announcing today that while teachers will return on September the 8th, kids won't go back until 2 days later on the 10th. Why the 2-day delay? Well, it's also that teachers can get used to the new safety protocols before kids are back on site. For some parents, the delay, of course, will bring some childcare challenges, but most are fully embracing any and all efforts to keep our kids safe. Efforts that could even include more outdoor learning.
One size does not fit all. We all understand that. But we also understand that it's fundamental to reestablishing a normalcy within our communities, that we have safe places for our kids to be so they can learn and grow and socialize and do all the wonderful things that children do.
Another question in recent weeks has been the use of masks. BC's Education Minister now saying that masks will play a significant role in the return to school. However, they will not be required in the classroom, only when physical distancing cannot be maintained. It's all part of the new normal as kids here in BC return to school. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine.